I'm on the phone with Coach Mark Shields from MDI High School, as we are every week. And, Coach, we're at the halfway point of the season after Friday night, 4 games having been played. And this game, a little, on paper, looks like a blowout. On the field, it's a lot different. You're playing at Husson University on the turf against John Bapst. Tell us about how the week's practice has gone.
Yeah, you're absolutely right, Chris. You look at this game and you say, well, MDI is 3-1 and John Bapst is 0-4, and you look at the teams that we've beaten compared to the teams that they've lost to, and you think, well, on paper this should be, a shoo-in for victory for the Trojans. But, you and I have been doing this long enough to know that that's just simply not true. That the old saying, that's why you play the game, and that's why we'll play the game Friday night. And you're right, we have to travel on the road. It's going to be their home field. For all I know, it could be their homecoming. It's that time of year. They're hungry for a win, and they know that if they do want to have any hope of getting into the playoffs, they're going to have to probably win this football game. And they're very well coached. Dan O'Connell, one of the best coaches in the state. He has a state championship gold ball in his trophy case, and we don't down here. And, so he knows how to win big games. And I know that the Crusaders will be well prepared this week and excited for the opportunity to try to knock us off. And you're right, it's kind of one of those trap games where we know we have a big game coming up versus Madison in 2 weekends, and it would be easy for us to overlook John Bapst. But, I don't believe that's the case. I know from the coaching staff standpoint, it definitely is not, and I believe the kids feel the same way. I kind of, was worried last week against Herman, knowing that I thought our kids might be overconfident. We had a good week of practice that week, and this week I believe we even had a better week of practice than last week, getting ready for John Bapst. So I think the kids are taking it serious. I think they know how important the game is, and nothing will be given to us. So it's important that, we prepare well, and we're ready to go, and be ready for a close game up in Bangor Friday night.
As a veteran coach, you kind of get a sense of the team of how they're going to play on the weekend by the way that they practice during the week.
Yep, you're definitely right, Chris. You can see it throughout the week, and for me, it all starts with kind of the attitudes I see in school and talking to the kids and talking about the game. And we have kids during lunch period that Mark Arnold, one of my assistants, we're fortunate enough that he has a room that he has a TV in there that the kids can go in during their lunch and start looking at tape on our next opponent. And we have a lot of kids going in there, every lunch period. We have 3 lunch periods a day, and throughout the day we'll have, different kids during different lunches go in, and we've had a good crowd this week. And I've heard kids say as they're watching the video on John Bapst, whoa, these guys, they're pretty good, so there's one game we were looking at today. They took on Oceanside, who was 3-1 like us.
Right.
And at halftime, the Crusaders were right there with them. They looked good. They were physically outmanning Oceanside. And Oceanside's got some big, strong kids. So, our kids know that this is not going to be a cakewalk by any means, and we're going to have to play well if we expect to get a win.
What are the keys to victory to beat the Crusaders on Friday night?
Yeah, I think the first key is just what we were talking about, is to go in knowing that we're going to have to play well. Don't be overconfident. All the other keys to victory, like we've had in the past with other opponents, you have to protect the football. You can't go on the road and turn the ball over. We saw that down in Winslow. You're just not going to win football games. And looking at that Oceanside tape, that's exactly what Oceanside did. They started throwing the ball deep, and John Bapst started intercepting it. They had one that they took back for a touchdown that kept them in the game. And, a team like them, similar to a Herman, they're a team that probably the highs are real high and the lows can be real low. But if they come out and we struggle and we turn the ball over and they start feeling success, then we got troubles, because they're going to be in our faces all night long. So, it's really important that we take care of the football. It's important that we play well on special teams, make them earn everything that they get. Like any opponent, you can't give up that big kickoff return. And sure enough, we saw that down in Winslow 2 weekends ago. Here we are battling to try to score and stop them, and we kick one off, and they take it back for a touchdown. So it can't happen because it's going to keep them in the game, and it's going to give them more and more confidence, and then we have problems. So, for us, it's a big week. Once again, get better at what we're doing. We've done a lot of breakdown drills this week, especially defensively with our defensive coaches, and just working on our technique and our reads and what we need to do to be a better football team. And that's how we look at it week to week. No matter who our opponent is, we're trying to get better, and I feel like this week of practice we have gotten better.
You play on the turf for the first time in, I don't know how long, maybe forever. What kind of challenges does that bring?
Yeah, I think the last time MDI played on turf was probably at Hamden,
yes.
which I never won up there as a head coach. So that concerns me a little bit. But it's definitely a faster field for sure. The elements of weather don't really play, quite the factor that they would on a grass field, turf field, because you're just not going to have the puddles. You're not going to have the soft turf. It's going to be a faster game. And playing up there against Hamden, I remember on their turf field, it took us a couple of series, especially on defense, to catch up to the speed of Hamden because they were used to playing on that turf and they know how fast it is, and teams are simply faster on the turf. And I look at John Bapst, and they got some kids that are fast, and they can get outside on you. They do a lot of stuff. They throw the ball, they run the ball, and they do all that stuff well. They throw screens. I mean, they're a handful to try to stop defensively, and for us, I think we do have to figure out the speed of the game quickly, or once again, they pop a big one early, and it's like, oh boy, here we go. So I think it's the speed of the game that's the biggest concern.
With that being said, if you win the toss, do you take the ball or kick it off?
Yeah, good question. And, I've been letting the kids decide this year. They really have been excited about this. Normally, once again, if I feel like I'm maybe the better team that night, I might try to take the ball and try to get a good drive going and try to score early. But this year's team seems to want to kick the ball off. They want to get their defense on the field. So I kind of, ask the kids, what do you think tonight? You want to kick off or receive? And I let them decide. And the last 3 games, they've decided they wanted to kick off. Now, we didn't win the toss last Friday night versus Herman, so we did receive because they deferred on it. But I'll leave that completely up to the kids.
Okay. What about the health of the team going into the contest against John Bapst?
Yeah, we're pretty healthy. The 2 guys that have been dealing with the knee injuries, Ezra Johnson and Drake Janes, they're still out. Drake's going to have an MRI on Saturday, so we can find out more on what's going on internally on that knee. But everybody else is healthy and feeling good and excited to get up to Bangor.
Abram Malloy back in from the eye injury?
Yes, he is. We're excited about that. Abram had a tennis ball, hit him in the eye, and sure enough, it was in my phys ed class. And
if I recall, there was someone else that sprained an ankle a couple of years back in one of your phys ed classes.
Yeah, guess who it was? Abram Malloy. He was in my team sports class, and we're playing ultimate frisbee, and he goes up for the frisbee, and he comes back down, and then he can't walk because he hurt his Achilles heel. So
can he be transferred to a different class or for the rest of the season, or what?
What's funny about it is, this morning I announced to the class he's in right now, my lifetime activities class, that tomorrow we've been hitting golf balls out back, and I said tomorrow we might play a little ultimate frisbee. And Abram turned to me and said, "Coach, I think I'll go to the library tomorrow." I said, "Yeah, maybe that's a good idea, Abram. I don't know."
Your excuse, yes.
Yeah. So, but yeah, we're excited to have him back. The thing about him is, he's a real high-energy guy. He just is excited about football. He's a good leader. He's a good motivator. He gets the kids excited, and he's a good football player. So he's fun to be on the field with. So we're really excited to have him back.
All right. What do you want to say to the MDI fans?
Yeah, once again, thank you for your continued support. It's been awesome. I had a nice crowd here versus Herman, and if you can't get up, to the John Bapst game.
Let me excuse you just for one second. That crowd against Herman was huge. I mean, seeing it across from the field, it filled the stands and the ringing around the fence. It was a fantastic crowd.
Yeah, it was really nice because we announced our Acadian Football League guys, and So we had a lot of those kids were there, and their families, excuse me, were there. And, I think people are starting to get excited about football here at MDI because we are having a good season. Want to come out. It was a nice night for football and come out and see us play. So, yeah, if we can keep that up, it'd be great. Once again, if you can't make it up to the John Bapst game at Husson Friday night at 7 o'clock, we'll be right back at MDI versus the Madison Bulldogs the following Friday.
And you're going to need that stands to be packed. I mean, it's going to be you need a 12th man that night.
Yeah, for sure. We know that Madison right now the number 1 seed, so they got it rolling down there, and we're going to need everybody to try to compete with those guys.
And that, of course, will be homecoming and the MDI high school class of 2016, the Hall of Fame class, will be inducted that night at halftime.
Yep, that's a real fun night down here, so if you can get down, it'd be awesome.
All right, Coach, have a good couple days of practice leading up to Friday night's game, and then we will see you on the turf at Husson on Friday.
Okay, Chris, thank you.